Okay, shalom everyone. Today we are starting a new class. It's called Preparation for Prayer. This is class 1. We are going to try to meditate upon the significance of prayer that everyone can do in the morning. And today's part 1. We will focus on the prayer called Modeh Ani, Jewish prayer, composed by the sages of the Great Assembly, that every person can actually use to say in the morning, as this is available on our app, and you can use it every single day. So today we're going to meditate upon this prayer based on a study from the Rebbe Menachem Mendel Schneerson on the essence of the inner dimension of prayer. And we will begin with a prayer of Modeh Ani, I acknowledge you. So what is this prayer of Modeh Ani? Modeh Ani Lefanecha, Melech Chai V'Kayam, She'echzarta bi nishmati b'chemla rabba emunatecha. We do like this in the morning when we wake up. First thing that we do when we open our eyes or when we realize that we are awakened, we say Modeh Ani Lefanecha, and we will be able obviously to say it in English. In English, it is translated as, I offer thanks to you, living and eternal King, for having restored my soul within me with mercy. Your faithfulness is great. So we're going to meditate upon this particular prayer at 4 levels. The simple level, the level of the explanation, the level of the metaphor, and the level of secret. So at the first level, we find as follows. Since it is incumbent upon every person to accustom himself to say Modeh Ani, that I acknowledge you, immediately upon awakening from his sleep, and thereby to remember God, who stands over him, and arise with zeal. This statement is the foundation and the beginning of a person's service, namely the fulfillment of all the teachings of the Torah and of his life for the rest of his entire day. So what are we saying here? With the first word, when we say Modeh, I acknowledge, we are stating very much what we are supposed to be doing throughout our day in every one of our occupations. As our sages state, in all your paths you shall know him, and in all your deeds should be for the sake of heaven. So everything that we do should be done in this state of acknowledgement of Modeh, that I acknowledge that Hashem is the one who is allowing everything to exist at this very moment as I speak to you. Hashem is the one who is allowing my heart to beat, my lungs to bring oxygen into my body, and so on and so forth. So we need to be in this state of awe, of acknowledgement. And actually the word Modeh, the root is hoda'ah, which is also the root of the word Yehudi. A Jew means the one that recognizes God. And for a person to connect with the Jewish faith is here by acknowledging Hashem throughout his day, starting in the morning. Point number 2, the idea behind this prayer is that one should contemplate immediately upon awakening before whom he lies, before the King of Kings, the Holy One, blessed be he, as it is written in Jeremiah chapter 23, verse 24, behold, the heavens and the earth I fill. Of this should one be aware during all his dealings and affairs. This is a great principle in the Torah and a distinguishing quality of the righteous who walk before God. As it is written, I place God constantly before me, as it's written in the code of Jewish law. The very first law of the Jewish code of law is Da lifnei ata omed tamid. Know in front of who you stand always. Now, obviously, a person could ask himself, how is it possible to live in such a way where I'm aware constantly of Hashem, Melech Malchi Amlochim, the King of Kings? How can I live in such a state of awe? I will not be able to do pretty much nothing if I constantly are in this state of awe. So one needs to meditate upon the fact that God truly is in front of us all the time. There's an eye that sees, there's an ear that hears, and everything that we do is registered in the book of life. So we need to be in this state of consciousness, and not necessarily to be afraid of God judging us every single moment, whatever we're going to do. Obviously, God does that. He does judge us if it's a good deed or if it's a bad deed. Nonetheless, we should contemplate this with love, with a full commitment that Hashem loves us so deeply that He wants to be part of every single moment of our day. And we need to let Him in. We need to let Him be with us. That is the love of Hashem. That is the true love of God, is to spend all awakened moment with Him in a conscious manner. And in order to be able to reach that, we need to start our day on the right foot with Modeh Ani, I acknowledge you. Third point that the Rebbe brings, all of the preceding, the service of man to his maker, first comes through man's awakening from his sleep, his slumber in the vanities of the world. To use the well-known expression of Maimonides, as it says, and it's brought by King Solomon in the beginning of Kohelet, Ecclesiastes, that this world is vanity. And we all know that when a person dies, well, nothing is left besides his true faith. When he spent his days with true faith in God and he believes in the resurrection of the dead, he can live that every single day. Every single morning can be the experience of the resurrection of the dead. As you may know, that in Judaism it is written that sleeping is 1/60th of death, meaning that the higher levels of the soul leave the body, the ruach and the neshama, and only is left in the body the level of nefesh, the physiological soul that allows the heart to continue to beat and all of the organs to function properly. But the levels of the conscious, of Yetzira, of the emotions, the power of speech, and neshama, the power of intellect, and so on, leave the body as a person is asleep. So obviously this can be also understood in a context where throughout our day, sometimes we can be in a state of slumber. And oftentimes we may find ourselves in that state of slumber if we are not awake. Truly to be awake, it's not when we have a coffee and we are focused on the road driving our car to our office, but to hear a class in the car, to put up the radio Shir Chadash 24/7 with music for Noachides, with Torah classes for Noachides. That is to be awakened, to be connected all the time to our Creator. At the light of all the foregoing, we can now understand that the proverb which Rabbi Shalom Dovber said in his youth, that we must spread out the dot, i.e. the period which is after the word mercy in Modeh Ani, over into the entire day, because the service of Modeh Ani is required at every moment of the entire day. The state of Modeh Ani, that I am acknowledging you, O God, when we eat, when we walk, when we do any activity throughout our day, needs to be our very consciousness. So this is our first class on the preparation of Modeh Ani, to meditate upon the concepts that we discussed today, and Bezat Hashem, we shall continue further on meditating upon this prayer, Modeh Ani, a beautiful prayer. And obviously you should say this morning, if you're watching this morning, if you didn't say it yet, or tomorrow morning, saying, putting your hands like so, while you lift up your head from your pillow and you say, I acknowledge you, O God, living and eternal King, for you have restored my soul within me with mercy. Your faithfulness is great. May you have a wonderful day filled with the love and the consciousness of our Creator.